morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you thought that the so-called Geza revolution was going to be a peaceful demonstration calling for Mnangagwa to go, you were wrong. The organizers themselves of the protest are making it very clear this is not going to be a peaceful demonstration. And of course, under those situations, we should not be surprised that the regime itself will, in all probability, use violence. So this is a clash of two hyenas here. Each one of them threatening violence. Which one will prevail? We don't know. Here is one of the spokesperson, Nyoka Mabunu, giving us details about this so-called 31st March demonstration.
Focus nenyaya musi wa31 ndo agenda ndo tsimu yatakatarisana nayo. Rega ndikutaurire chimwe chinhu, musi wa31 unenge musi womande. Rega nditaurire ende ndiyambire maheadmaster nematicha. Musatendere vana kuti vaende kuchikoro. Chikoro hakuna musi wa31. Unenge uri musi womande but chikoro hakuna. Imbai magara mataurira vanhu. This is a uprising. I see demonstration chete. This is a uprising. Motikari dzatira kuona mumastreet musi wemande musi wa31. Imotikari dzine chekuita nedemonstration yatakatarisana nayo. Makambani, mabhazi, matrucks ngavharwe pakai dzimba. Ndava musazobhurema vanhu because we've been warning you for a long time. Tichikutaurirai kuti varume, chinhu chizerera chasvika ichi hachina kumira zvakanaka. Chinhu ichi chine makusha, chinhu chine marimirime emoto. Saka ndiri kuti kudii, musi wedemonstration, musi wa31, no regalia. Hapana anosungirwa kupfeka hembe ine mufananidzo womunhu, no. Musapfeke hembe dzine mufananidzo wovanhu. Angava vamwe tinoziva vamwe vari kuti agudo guru ngaachitonga ngaatirangarirewo. Hatidi kukuonai makapfeka hembe dzine mufananidzo wagudo guru musi iwoyo.
Well, he is just clarifying there that on the 31st, headmasters and teachers must not allow the children to go to school. So in this particular case, we are finding ourselves in a situation where the ordinary person has no choice. They're being coerced to do one thing or the other. I think as the people of Zimbabwe, this is a very familiar road we've traveled, where the ordinary person is not respected for making their own decision. If it was a peaceful demonstration, then of course, schools should be open, and if parents want to withdraw their children in support of the demonstration or whatever, they are free to do so. There should not be any coercion. That is the point. But here we are told that this is an uprising. It's not a peaceful demonstration. This is not different from when the nation was fighting for its independence. the nation had the choice of having gain its independence by peaceful means or wage an armed struggle. The second alternative, while people would consider it, they also should have read the warning at the bottom. You must consider what kind of leaders would an armed struggle throw up. Would those be the kind of leaders you would want to lead Zimbabwe, independent Zimbabwe? And as a nation, looking back from what this nation has become since the independence in 1980, we have to admit that our armed struggle threw up the kind of leaders who were impatient and intolerant of honest debate and honest democratic discourse. Zanu PF leaders have become thugs. That we cannot deny. These are individuals who believe that they have the right to govern the country as they see fit. And in Robert Mugabe and these cronies, we had leaders who not only believed that, but who went on to corrupt others in the various state institutions like the army, the police, the CIO, the judiciary, etc., etc., to subscribe to the view that the only leaders to rule Zimbabwe must be Zanu PF. And so you end up with a situation where heads of the army, the police, the CIO come out publicly and say, no, we are not going to support a leader coming from the opposition. Why not? If that said leader has been elected in a free, fair, and credible election by the people of Zimbabwe, who are you to then say, no, you cannot lead? If you're going to come up with this idea, which is what Zanu PF encouraged, that all opposition leaders are puppets of the West, there to push the regime change agenda. Fine. If they have committed a crime in a country that respects the rule of law, you would say then those individuals must be charged in a court of law and evidence produced so that the people themselves can see for themselves whether that individual is a puppet or not. If no such charge has ever been brought before a court of law and no one has ever convicted, to say the people, whoever you choose, we will overrule you, is the most undemocratic thing you can do. And yet this is what we have seen happen in Zimbabwe again and again. I believe that what we are seeing here from Nyoka Mabunu and his colleagues regarding this so-called Geza revolution is nothing more than what we saw in 2017 when we had a military coup. The people came out in their hundreds of thousands in support of it for various reasons. The opposition, they supported it out of greed because they were promised that the new dispensation will have a new government of national unity in which they will play a part. We know, of course, that as soon as they secured Mugabe's resignation, all that was forgotten. I think we are seeing the same thing here. And this one, unlike the 2017, which was peaceful, because the two factions, when the coup was staged, the losing faction could not deploy the riot police to beat up people. But until this Geza revolution can demonstrates similar powers, it is not clear whether they will be able to have the public demonstrations without the police, the riot police, for instance, being deployed. Or, which is also likely, if one side of the army, for instance, should endorse the demonstration but the other does not, we could have soldiers, armed soldiers, on the street with instructions to shoot to kill. And so our friend here would be, his warning would be fulfilled that this is not a peaceful demonstration, but a revolution. We, the people of Zimbabwe, should be very clear what we want. It is important that we understand that this factional war between Chiwenga supporters and Mnangagwa supporters is a factional war. It's an internal Zanu PF war. As much as people would say, yes, the Geza revolution will stop Mnangagwa extending his rule beyond 2028, corrupting the constitution to allow him to stay beyond 2028. The fact of the matter still remains that Mnangagwa is a dictator and he has landed us in this mess. Even if he was not going to extend his stay in power, as long as there is another dictator, Zimbabwe's economic fortune and political fortune would not change. So successfully stopping Mnangagwa, extending his rule, will only stop him, one individual dictator. But if the door is open for another one to come in, the situation for the people will not change. What we should be focused on is making sure we dismantle the dictatorship. The danger of supporting the Chiwenga faction in this factional war is that once the people have come out in the hundreds of thousands, as happened in 2017, in support of the Chiwenga faction, those behind it will take it as an endorsement of their solution. And their solution is that Chiwenga should take over. Mugabe should go, Mnangagwa should go, and Chiwenga should take over. This is exactly what happened in 2017. And so we must avoid that, a repeat of that scenario. Some people have asked, so what is it that the people should do? Well, this is a factional war that has nothing to do with the ordinary Zimbabwean. As much as it is not in our interest to stop their factional fighting, we can go ahead. Just as much as a goat will be interested to see two hyenas fighting. The best result for the goat would be the two hyenas kill each other. But in life, we know that the chances are one will prevail. And in this particular case, supporting one or the other is folly. Because anyone will tell you that whichever of those two hyenas prevail, there's nothing it will love more than to have got to celebrate this victory. We were used in 2017. The coup removed Mugabe and replaced him with Mnangagwa, and we, the ordinary people, supported the coup and got absolutely nothing. Nothing changed. Mnangagwa came in and it was business as usual. Now we are facing the same thing. If Geza and company prevail, they will impose Chiwenga, and it will be business as usual. We should have our own agenda, and we should not be dragged into supporting a factional war, which we know will be of no benefit to us. I repeat, this call to 31st March demonstration, people of Zimbabwe to look at it with indifference. Because the outcome of that will not change their lives in any meaningful way. And it will be tragic if you should find yourself supporting that demonstration and it becomes violent, as the organizers themselves are already predicting, and they are caught up in that violence. Because the question will be, you had no business there. You were going to lose either way. So why did you get yourself involved? That would be my warning to the people of Zimbabwe. Do not get yourself involved in the 31st March, because it's not a peaceful demonstration, nor will it ever deliver meaningful democratic change in Zimbabwe. That is a fact. Thank you very much. Have a good night.